Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to give a brief update. We are waiting on one more council person. Have reached out to him, and hopefully we'll have one that shows up in just a few moments so we can have quorum today. So I'll make another announcement as soon as we can. Thank you. All right, everyone, back with an update. So we have one more council member that will be here in 15 minutes. So our plan is to recess and reconvene at 10:20. I do apologize for the inconvenience this morning, but I'm hoping that will fit with everyone's agenda since we do have a light agenda today. So we'll see everyone back at 10:20.
Mr. Chair, we will have to call the meeting to order.
Okay.
And then motion to recess the meeting.
All right. So
Well, excuse me, we don't have a quorum.
we don't
Sorry.
have quorum
Yeah,
to call
sorry,
it
excuse
to
me.
order. So not an official recess, but an unofficial recess, and see everyone back at 10:20. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm officially calling our city utilities meeting for Tuesday, October the 24th to order. I am Jason Winston, chair of the committee, and I am joined by my colleagues. To my far right, we have Councilmember Antonio Lewis. To my immediate right, we have Councilmember Jason Dozier, and to my left, we have Councilmember Howard Shook. This constitutes a quorum, so I will make a motion to adopt the agenda. We have a second by Shook. Mr. Johnson, can you please open the vote?
One moment. The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. We have a motion by Dozier, second by Shook. Mr. Johnson, can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take public comment. Do we have anyone signed up?
Mr. Chair, we have no one signed up for public comment.
All right. Seeing none, we'll go to communications.
Section F, Communications, item number 123C, 5112, a communication from Mayor Andre Dickens appointing Mr. N. John Bay, Esquire, to serve as a member of the Keep Atlanta Beautiful Commission. This appointment is for a term of 2 years.
Colleagues, Mr. Bay was unable to attend today, so I'll make a motion to hold. I have a second by Shook. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held in committee. This takes us to our consent agenda, Section G, ordinance for first reading. Item number 2, 23-0-1590, an ordinance by City Utilities Committee authorizing Chief Financial Officer to amend the FY 2024 Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget in the amount of $144,469,114.0 to anticipate and appropriate the transfer of Equity and Georgia Environmental Finance Authority loan proceeds to the Water and Wastewater Renewal and Extension Fund budget, and to increase the restricted reserve balance to achieve a 90-day target goal and for other purposes. This takes us to our regular agenda, Section H, ordinance for second reading. Item number 3, 23-0-1575, an ordinance by Councilmember Jason Winston waiving the requirements of Section 2-910 of the Atlanta City Code, authorizing the mayor of his designated on behalf of the city of Atlanta to apply for grant funding from the United States Environmental Protection Agency's Solar for All grant program as a co-applicant with 3 Georgia local governments and a nonprofit, an amount not to exceed $250 million and 0 cents, to provide financial and technical assistance to enable low-income, disadvantaged communities to deploy and benefit from residential solar, to retroactively authorize the mayor as designated to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the City of Atlanta on behalf of the Office of Sustainability and Resilience and several Georgia local governments and nonprofit organizations to memorialize the intent of the coalition members to jointly pursue funding for the Solar for All program and to allocate funding among the coalition members and for other purposes.
Thank you. I have Mr. Seidel down to speak to this. Morning.
Going for $250 million, which is the maximum amount, with our coalition of local governments, City of Savannah, as well as City of Decatur. We have also gotten over 15 different letters of support from different local governments across Georgia, both county and municipal, We would have more, but federal timelines don't always allow for that quick turnaround for other local governments. So we have a lot of others interested, but these programs would be applicable statewide. That is a part of, we had 85 different letters of support from houses of faith, from community organizations across the state. That $250 million would go to programs such as solar leases. You might have heard of Georgia Bright. It just got launched 2 weeks ago. And pretty much looking at 200 homes across Georgia to do solar leases where they will, for low-income households and homeowners, where the goal is so that they save 20% on their electricity bill and have day one savings. So to be able to scale up that program, that Georgia Bright program is already made possible due to grant funds from local philanthropic support from the Arthur Blank Foundation. Obviously, $250 million would help scale that program and other programs that we were talking about, whether that's community solar, whether that's solar leasing, whether that's actually direct gifts to the households themselves so that they can have a direct install and not have to go through the lease program. And then the City of Atlanta, as well as City of Savannah, City of Decatur, will also be subrecipients if awarded for things such as weatherization, which y'all are familiar with, Weatherize ATL, being able to help scale up that program, being able to help get homes ready to even be able to benefit from solar, to have home safety repairs, and of course, workforce development so that we are empowering and hiring individuals from our local community. Overall, it is a historic opportunity, and that's why the City of Atlanta is at the forefront, making sure that we are applying not alone, but with 85 other organizations and more than 15 other local governments.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for that thorough explanation. Do we have any comments or questions from my colleagues? I have a motion to approve by Dozier. I did have, in a second, by Shook, but I did have one quick question. Can you talk about timeline? When this application is due, and if we are accepted, kind of next steps?
So the application was due on October 12th. I talked a little bit about federal timelines, so thank you for considering this retroactive legislation. We are planning to hear about awards Q2 or Q3 2024.
Okay, all right, thank you. Councilmember Lewis.
And are you saying that the City of Atlanta will receive the funding and then we would disperse it amongst the state, or the state will receive it?
Good question. So the lead applicant is actually Capital Good Fund, which is a CDFI that is our partner for Georgia Bright. So they are a nonprofit. They've done over 14,000 different loans, where 9 out of 10 are focused on low-income individuals for things such as energy efficiency, solar, but going beyond that too into helping support for immigration services. But that is the lead applicant, and then the City of Atlanta, as well as City of Savannah and Decatur, would be able to be subrecipients or written in as subrecipients to accept this funding to do workforce development, energy efficiency work, help expand Weatherize for us.
So the lead applicant is applying for the state. I'm just thinking about it in terms of the federal government started a program. Typically would send it to the states, and the states would work with cities, but they send it to a nonprofit, which would then work with cities.
So yes, states are eligible to be able to go for this funding, and GEFA, the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, is putting in their own application. We worked with GEFA throughout this process and introduced Georgia Bright and these other innovative ways of low-income solar leasing programs. Unfortunately, they weren't able to write us in, and we thought it was really important for us to make sure that our narrative and our application and our due diligence, we're going after this historic $250 million. But if GEFA gets it, I'm confident that that's still a major win for the state, and looking forward to work with GEFA if they are awarded.
So that's what I was wondering about. When I worked in DC, I know when you have one applicant per state, typically the state would be the lead applicant, and the major cities would fall under that. So we have our own organization that we're working with, and we're competing with the state of Georgia for the funding.
We don't think of it as competing. We're putting out a separate, specific narrative that we know that we're written into. The Capital Good Fund is written into. Unfortunately, they weren't able to write in Capital Good Fund, but they said, and even in their webinars, that that these models that they are writing their application on are inspired by what we brought to them throughout our meetings.
And I think my questions are around, so would the state have worked with the city of Atlanta if we were not using capital good funds as the intermediary?
Would the state
Have added the city of Atlanta to their plan?
I don't think so.
All right, that's what I was wondering. So the state was going to leave us out of their fight to get the funding?
It's a good question. They couldn't write us in. They couldn't write our CDFI partner in, Capital Good Fund. And so, because they're the state, I think they obviously do have, with these types of grants, the state is really well set up to be able to take in those types of funds. So I think they have probably a competitive application as well. But it was just really important for us to be able to put into writing the programs that we were proposing to make sure that those are funded. Not to say that.
And I'm ready to fight, right? But my question is, are we fighting the fight because we're working with Capital Good Foods, or with the state, had we not been working with this particular organization? Because I'm thinking about the applications, and I know our our U.S. senators are going to fight for us to get the funding here. I know our U.S. Congress people are going to fight for us to get the funding here. But I know when they say Governor Kemp sent this one and Mayor Dickens sent this one, and so I know that's going to be a fight, and I was hoping that we could be on the same page. But I'm standing in support of it.
Yeah, I want to shy away from the word fight because GFA is a partner for us for multiple programs. They, of course, run weatherization programs, and we want to make sure that there's a good partnership with us going forward, whether we're the ones that are funded or whether GFA's funded. I'm also confident because Capital Good Fund's really set up to be the only organization in the state that's actually doing this low-income solar leasing program. So I think there's a good chance that after it's funded, Capital Good Fund will likely, even if GFA wins, will likely be that partner on the ground. So I want to come at it as as partnership, and we're just putting in a separate application where it's not a fight. It's if we don't get it, it's okay because GFA has a strong plan B, and we plan to partner with them in the future. But hoping that we get it.
I hope we get it, because I know when we look at the federal government sending funding into the state of Georgia, we're talking about we have a surplus, but we have one of the worst medical issues in the country. So I hope that we get it. And I feel like we're fighting if we both submitted applications, and I used to work on Capitol Hill. I know they're only going to choose one. So if they win, they already got their plan set. We can only get crumbs off of what they have left. And so I hope we win. I hope we're able to work with them. So it's already been moved.
Yes, we have a motion by Dozier and a second by Hillis. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Shook. Sorry. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 4, 23-01578. An ordinance by Councilmember Alex Wong amending ordinance 22-01750 adopted by City Council on October 3rd, 2023, and approved as per City Charter Section 2-403 on October 10, 2022, to authorize an annual payment in the amount of $200,000 to Live Thrive Atlanta Incorporated on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management and the Department of Public Works for each year of a term of the Memorandum of Understanding and for other purposes.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Greenlee.
Good morning, Kanika Greenlee, Department of Public Works. This legislation, the Department of Public Works will split this $200,000 donation with the Department of Watershed Management. Department of Public Works has already issued our $100,000 payment for this fiscal year. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed in March 2023 of this year, so we will have an additional $100,000 payment next fiscal year. The MOU is for 2 years.
Okay, so the MOU is for 2 years, and I know the whereas clause this corrected indicated a one-time payment, and this will be a 2-year payment.
Correct.
Motion to approve? Got a second by Shook. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. This takes us to Section I, resolutions. Item number 5, 23R 4349, a resolution by Councilmembers Jason Dozier and Liliana Bakhtiari requesting the Department of Watershed Management to install storm drain grates perpendicular to the direction of the traffic to prevent traffic incidents from bicycle tire slippage and for other purposes.
Morning, Commissioner Browning.
Hey, good morning. So received this request for us to adjust the orientation of grates on storm drains along bike paths. So I've spoken with Councilman Bakhtiari about it and Commissioner Cavness with Atlanta Department of Transportation. We have 2 standard details that are typically utilized. However, there is a Georgia Department of Transportation standard detail that we will use when grates are located along bike paths. So we will be updating our standard detail book to include that so that both departments are aligned with future installations. And we'll also review locations of grates along current bike paths and make sure that they're retrofitted.
Motion by Dozier, second by Lewis. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Mr. Chair, if there is no objection from the committee, the department requests to take items 6, 7, and 8 together as a block.
Please proceed.
Item number 6, 23R 4354, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayors as needed to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of South Fulton, Georgia, on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for the purpose of adjusting water and sewer facilities that are in conflict with the City of South Fulton's Cedar Grove Road and Rivertown Road intersection improvement project in Fulton County in an amount not to exceed $56,025.00. All contract will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 7, 23R 4355, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayors as need to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the City of South Fulton, Georgia, on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for the purpose of adjusting water and sewer facilities that are in conflict with the City of South Fulton's New Hope Road Sidewalk Improvement Project in Fulton County in the amount not to exceed $146,700.00. All contract work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, and account number listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 8, 23R 4356, a resolution by City Utilities Committee authorizing the mayor as designee to execute the First Amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding and Contract Item Agreement with the State of Georgia Department of Transportation on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management to add funding for additional construction services related to the intersection improvement project along State Route 54, State Route 401, I-75 South, and State Route 42 in Fulton County in the amount not to exceed $23,362.18. All contract will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Winston, Council Members Makita Browning, Commissioner for Watershed. We have 3 projects that are transportation related. 2 are related to projects for City of South Fulton and 1 for Georgia Department of Transportation. Scope of works requires the relocation of various Department of Watershed Management assets to accommodate their projects. We felt that it was prudent to expedite staging of construction and minimize service interruptions by including the scope of work in their contracts. Subject to any questions that you may have.
Questions from my colleagues? We have a motion to approve all 3 from Councilmember Shook. We have a second by Dozier. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. These items are favorable. Item number 9 requires a substitute. The substitute changes the caption.
A motion to move forward the substitute from Dozier, second by Shook. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. The substitute before you. The substitute adds the Department of Parks and Recreation as an authorized user in amount of $400,000.00. Item number 923R4357, a substitute resolution by City Utilities Committee, a resolution authorizing the mayor's designee to exercise the second renewal option for FC 10649, annual contract for painting and pressure washing services with A&D Painting Incorporated on behalf of the Department of Watershed Management for a term of 1 year in the amount not to exceed $1,800,000.00 to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute a second amendment to the agreement to add the Department of Enterprise and Asset Management as an authorized user agency in the amount of $100,000.00 and to add the Department of Parks and Recreation as an authorized user agency in the amount not to exceed $400,000.00. All contract work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
Thank you. DC Fletcher.
Good morning, Chairman Winston. Good morning, council members. Quentin Fletcher, Deputy Commissioner for the Office of Water Treatment and Reclamation for the Department of Watershed Management. The purpose of this legislation is to request authorization to exercise the option for renewal number 2 for agreement FC 10649, annual contract for painting and pressure washing services. The City of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management is responsible for maintaining the various water and wastewater treatment facilities. This annual contract performs repair and services on an on-demand basis. Services also assist with preventive and routine maintenance of distribution storage tanks and other equipment. This includes pressure washing, cleaning, filling void, scraping, and painting. Painting and coating must conform to all federal, state, and local regulations, including volatile organic compound rules at the time of application. The vendor has performed services in the past to improve the aesthetics of the water treatment and water reclamation facilities. The Department of Watershed Management anticipates the submission of a new procurement request to the Department of Procurement for these services on or before March of 2024. Subject to your questions, that concludes my briefing.
Questions or comments from my colleagues? A motion to approve by Shook. I'll second. As substituted.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, item number 10 requires a substitute. Substitute changes the caption. It revises the funding source.
I'm moved to substitute.
Frankfurt substitute.
Sorry. I have a second by Shook.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. Substitute before you. Item number 1023R4358, a substitute resolution by City Utilities Committee, a resolution authorizing the mayor's designee to execute an agreement for RFP DPW 2211-1230151, data validation study with Applied Decision Technologies Incorporated on behalf of the Department of Public Works, for a term of 2 years with 0 renewal options in the amount not to exceed $200,000.00 annually. All contract will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account number listed herein and for other purposes.
Morning.
Good morning, Chairman Winston, members of the committee. Melissa Davis, Finance Director for Department of Public Works. This legislation seeks authorization for the Department of Public Works to enter into a contract with Applied Decision Technologies Incorporated to validate data and ensure accurate solid waste billing for both our multifamily and single-family customers. There were 5 respondents, 3 were deemed responsible and responsive, and Applied Decision Technologies was rated the most responsive. So we're seeking approval to enter into this agreement.
Any questions, comments? I have a motion to approve on substitute by Councilmember Shook, a second by Dozier. Can you please open the vote?
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 4 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable on substitute. Mr. Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, do we have any comments from my colleagues? I did want to make a new announcement about the joint work session between City Utilities Committee and CDHS to discuss stormwater management planning. And so this meeting has been moved to November the 7th at 1 p.m. Right here in this committee room. And so just wanted to make the general public know that the impetus of this was the recent stormwater flooding that we had in the city of Atlanta in September. And so we'll be discussing some ways with watershed management, and I think Public Works will also be available as well to just discuss some efforts the city is undertaking to kind of mitigate these issues going forward. So again, invite everyone on November the 7th at 1 p.m. right here. Seeing there's no other comments or from my colleagues, we stand adjourned. Thank you.